Our last speaker of the evening, my friend Brittany, who is, you have so much soul. Thanks, Chopper. So much solace, and we have similar journeys and serve the world in similar ways of serving mothers, and I'm very excited to be able to have you hear her tonight. Okay, Brittany is here to take us on a journey of remembering how community is the foundation of well-being for all, especially for mothers who thanks, honey. Who despite being the first homes and teachers for past, present, and future generations, often receive the least support and care. You'll hear about Brittany's journey to becoming a postpartum care practitioner, why this work and community support is absolutely necessary, how cultures around the world honor and support postpartum, and how to begin integrating simple ways to support your community. This talk is about inspiring a cultural shift where mothers are truly seen and honored as the center of community. As a postpartum care practitioner, Brittany supports mothers in the 4th trimester and beyond with in-home postpartum care and intentionally made nourishment. Brittany's mission with Blissful Womb Care is to inspire change in the ways we nourish, care for, and support women and mothers. She believes that in order to begin repairing the many fractures in this world, we first need to begin with the centering the needs and care of mothers from birth and throughout the lifelong postpartum journey. Please help me in welcoming Brittany Zeer.
Wow. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I'm really, really excited that you're all here because although I speak through the lens of supporting the early postpartum time, my real work is to educate community on why postpartum care is a necessity and how the 5 essentials of postpartum care are really just the essentials for healing and thriving life in general. Women have been supporting women since the beginning of time. We have this innate wisdom that has been passed down to us through generation to generation. It has been imprinted in us. Take 2. We have this innate wisdom that has been imprinted in us since the beginning of time. And I'm really excited that men are showing up in more supportive roles in birth and postpartum now. However, they don't have the same imprint that women have. And that's why I'm excited that the men are here tonight as well. Because I can't only be speaking to mothers, I also have to be speaking to everyone. Because in order for this cultural shift to begin, the community at large needs to be involved in the conversation. My intention is to be able to inspire you to see some simple and tangible ways that you can begin supporting the mothers in your community, whether they are 3 days to 30 plus years postpartum. Because I'm only one person and I need your help. My vision is weaving a world of intergenerational care and mother-centered care. So, will you weave with me?
Yes.
Yeah. If you would have asked me 6 years ago what kind of work I would be doing today, I don't think I could have ever envisioned being a postpartum care practitioner. I was teaching yoga 7 days a week, living in Toronto with daily migraines and fibromyalgia. I was on a slew of pharmaceuticals, antidepressants, and birth control. I had been completely disconnected from my body and from its innate wisdom. I was trying to survive each day. Things began to change for me in 2020. I, like the rest of the world, experienced isolation, a crumbling of reality as it was, I'm getting nervous looking at everyone's faces here. I've been like rehearsing this all day and no one's around, but now I see everyone. Anyways, so I experienced isolation, a crumbling of reality as it was, and a complete reconfiguration of my life and my career. I knew that I needed to do something that was always going to be needed in the world. And so after I lost my livelihood in my community, I began to inquire what that might be. Around the same time, I made the radical choice to come off of all pharmaceuticals and begin transitioning to a more holistic way of being. At the same time, I was divinely guided to a course called Journey into the Womb, which at the time didn't make any sense to me, but now I can see how that was the key to the trajectory for the next few years of my life. And it was in that course that I learned that the term woo-woo actually means womb and was a derogatory term coined by men to dismiss and devalue and disconnect us from anything seen as alternative earth-based, ancestral wisdom, basically anything that can't be proven by science. It was here that I saw that the roots were severed. And so my journey of remembering, or coming back together, as one of my teachers, Rochelle, says, began. I was an experienced prenatal yoga teacher, and my sister was pregnant with her first baby. We were doing prenatal yoga together over Zoom, and I became fascinated with studying birth. I began a common birth and postpartum doula course, but I quickly became frustrated and felt unprepared to be able to support birth without having a teacher, a mentor, or a community to resource me and support me through supporting birth. My sister wound up having an unplanned cesarean, and nothing in my postpartum doula course prepared me or said anything about how to support someone following a C-section. And to me, that was wild. How is it that at least 1 in 3 births today are ending in a C-section, which is major abdominal surgery, and there's no follow-up care? We have this collective understanding that if someone has a shoulder surgery or they're recovering from any other kind of injury or illness, that there is this need for rest and for caretaking. But we send mothers home who have just given birth, whether physiologically or through the belly, with a tiny new human that is entirely dependent on them for their survival, with virtually no support. This didn't make any sense to me, and I saw a massive fracture. The doula course I was in felt way too surface level, and I knew that what I was being called into had immense depth to it. I knew I was meant to support women and mothers, but I just didn't know how. One night in 2021, I sat in front of my altar, crying and praying for a teacher and a community. The next day, an ad popped up on my Instagram for innate postpartum care training. When I went onto the Innate website, I saw these words: midwifing a cultural shift in honor of our innate wisdom, personal authority, and the sanctity of life. With a full body yes, I knew my prayers had been answered. Rochelle Saliga is the creator of Innate Postpartum Care Training. She created this course through her lived experience as a traditional midwife, a mother, and through studying cross-cultural postpartum care traditions from around the world. Weaving together science, physiology, psychology, and innate wisdom, this course completely changed my life. Innate system of care was developed with the understanding that in order for our children and families and communities to thrive, we need to center the care and the well-being of the mothers. When mothers are physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually supported, the ripple effect to the community at large is endless. It is here that I learned the 5 essentials of postpartum care, which are rest, warmth, body care, nourishment, and community support. And believe it or not, within 3 months of this 9-month-long training of integrating all that I was learning, even though I myself was not postpartum, I healed 7.5 years of chronic pain. And it was here that I realized that the 5 essentials for postpartum care are just the essentials for healing and thriving life in general. There are many ways in which cultures from around the world practice these 5 essentials, and they might call them something different. However, they are all rooted in the innate physiological design of women. In traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, Latin American cultures, and other indigenous cultures from around the world, they traditionally have a postpartum resting period of 21 to 40 days, where mothers are kept warm by the fire with herbs, and they're fed nutrient-dense, easy-to-digest foods. They receive body care practices like herbal baths and massage and acupuncture and closing of the bones ceremony to honor and acknowledge that these women have completed the rite of passage and they are emerging out into their community as a new version of themselves. They are seen as a pillar in their community. These cultures often have multi-generational support to tend to the mothers, to tend to her home, and to tend to her family. This creates the space for her to rest so that she can heal from her pregnancy, birth, and postpartum journey, and so that she can tend to and bond and feed her baby with ease. Young girls witnessed their mothers and their aunties and their grandmothers tending to other women in their community in these ways. So this wisdom was imprinted into them from a young age and passed down from generation to generation. In Ayurveda, they say how a mother is supported in her first 42 days postpartum determines her well-being for the next 42 years of her life. They understand that this sacred time fortifies strength, vitality, and well-being for the mother and for future generations to come. Some of these traditions are still intact, where multi-generational households are still around and these traditions are honored. However, in our modern Western culture, this rarely exists. In fact, most people don't even know that this exists. We work multiple jobs, we live in isolation, we have been disconnected and separated away from our families and what a true community support looks and feels like. Women are fed bounce-back culture ideologies. They are celebrated for being out and about with a new baby at 4 days postpartum. They're fed cold smoothies, and they are told to get back out there as quickly as possible. How quickly can you return to your life before you had a baby without going through that process? Postpartum is seen as synonymous with depression, but postpartum simply means time after birth. And this is not only following the birth of a baby, but also following pregnancy loss. So this means that postpartum is for life. You are forever changed. People spend copious amounts of money on cute little onesies and toys and baby gadgets for the babies because, let's face it, they're frickin' adorable. But how often do we take pause to ask the mothers how they're really doing? One day I was checking a customer out here in the shop. She was holding a cute little baby and I acknowledged both of them. I asked her how old her baby was. 4 months, she said. And how are you doing? How has your postpartum journey been? I asked her. She immediately broke into tears. No one has ever asked me that before. It's actually been really hard. I know, I said to her. Everyone's concerned about how the baby is doing, but we rarely check in to see how the mothers are doing. I see you. I recently had a dream come true. Women in my community pooled their money together to contribute to a postpartum care fund for their friends so that she could receive my Nourished Fourth Trimester Care Package, which is 6 weekly in-home postpartum care visits rooted in the 5 essentials of postpartum care. This woman hired me to come in and support her, and her story is like many others. Women who come to me are second-time and beyond moms because they have experienced what life is like to go through the postpartum journey without support and care. Their experience is night and day when they emerge out of the 4th trimester. They emerge calmer, more relaxed, able to bond with and feed their baby with more ease. They feel seen, loved, and cared for. This is why I do what I do. It's a real honor to be able to witness women in this most vulnerable and transformational time in a way that most women have never experienced. In our culture, oh wait, I said that one already. I guess I jumped around there. That's okay. The result of a lack of community support has led to all-time high rates of postpartum depression, anxiety, autoimmune disorders, hormonal imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, dysregulated nervous systems, and so much more. I could go on, but I think I'm already over time, so we'll save that for another talk. Are you beginning to see how mother-centered care is foundational to our collective well-being? If mothers feel cared for, supported, nurtured, and empowered, their children and their families feel this way too. This, again, is a ripple effect into the collective community at large. Community support is foundational to collective well-being. I used to believe that dismantling the systems and structures that have led to this depleted and extracted state that we find our mothers in today, and Mother Earth, and so on and so forth, I used to believe that dismantling that was the way forward, but I don't anymore. I now see the way forward is to build a bridge, drawing on the innate wisdom from these cross-cultural and our ancestors that has been stripped from us, merging it with our modern times and creating a new way forward where mothers are truly centered and honored as the center of community. I believe this is the way that we create a cultural shift. We create a new way forward rooted in reciprocity, repair, regeneration, and a return to unity. The etymology of the word community refers to a group of people who share a common duty, responsibility, and connection in life together. They share a mutual concern for one another's well-being. Break apart the word community. Do you see the word unity? CommonUnity simply translates to common unity. So, what are some simple and tangible ways that we can begin supporting our mothers, whether they are 3 days to 30 plus years postpartum? First, remember that the 5 essentials of postpartum care, rest, warmth, body care, nourishment, with the foundation of community support, are really the essentials for healing and thriving life in general. Bring mothers herbal infusions, homemade nourishment, and offer your presence to sit with them in their most vulnerable, real, and raw moments. Offer to pick up groceries on your way over, to do the dishes, and to sweep the floor without any judgment. Create a felt sense of safety for her and watch her transform before your eyes in the most subtle yet liberating ways so that she can step further into this sacred responsibility as her role as a mother. And if you're looking for more inspiration, this is exactly why I wrote the Blissful Postpartum e-cookbook. It's 30 of my most popular nutrient-dense recipes like superfood bone broths, soups, nutrient-dense snacks, herbal infusions, and so much more. This not only supports postpartum, but well-being for all. And I'm happy to say that the littles love the food too. When you don't know what else to do, bring food and offer your presence. This is true community support. May we co-create a world together where mothers and future generations are truly honored, centered, and cared for. May we watch the well-being of all living things begin to thrive once again. Thank you for being here.